All right, so we're live. All right, so today's video is just going to be about building personal credit, the foundations of basic personal credit. We're going to talk about credit score, and I'm going to give some tips on where to start if you have a zero credit whatsoever. And the cool thing is I have a young scholar that already has something going right now that's super dope and incredibly excited about that, and what to do and how to get into the credit game in the very beginning anyways. And I highly recommend doing this the moment you turn 18. The moment you turn 18, this is what you should be looking at doing, no matter what. Even if you don't have like a crazy cool job yet or whatever that may be, do this because it's going to affect you forever anyways. So you might as well get started now. And I'll show you on this little wheel thing why it's important to get started early so that you're not starting later and having to do stuff from what you should have been doing already anyways. All right. So credit is the American standard for if we should be able to get loans or get a car note or buy a house or get a credit card, and essentially just being able to get funding for whatever we want to do with our lives. So if we decide to start a business, if we have some product or service that we want to do, let's say you want to start a lawn mowing company. I don't know, what do you want? Is there anything that you can just think of, just like, hey, out of nowhere, this is what I would do if I had $20,000. If I had somebody give me $20,000 to start a business, what would I do? What would you do?
Somebody give me 20.
Just some $20,000 to start any business, just anything.
Are you gonna be like, to start something?
You know, like you could do like a vending machine business, or like start selling candy, or like a food truck, or like I don't know what y'all are interested in. It just could be anything. I mean, it could. Maybe.
You gotta pay low key. I would have to like do two ideas with 10K and 10K. I do two ideas.
Buy some trucks, do rentals with the trucks, do box trucks. Like you ever done one of those moving companies, like the 2 men in the truck or whatever? You know, you could do that too. Or like being a snow plow person, you could buy a truck to do the snow plow, and the city will pay you like $5-10 grand just to go do the city streets. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, Facebook Marketplace, reselling phones. Yeah, what if you had 10 grand to start that with? Right? That'd be a lot easier than starting with like $300 from your little job that, you know, think of in part-time job. I know you got a decent job. Part-time job, you're making $15 an hour. That's taxed, by the way. So it would take you how many hours you have to work to get one iPhone to flip it? Say the iPhone's what, about $400 on the marketplace, right? Roughly? One check. How long? 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Roughly. So $15 an hour, it would take 10 is $150. 20 hours is $300. 30 hours is $450. It's 30 hours. 30 hours of work, and you still have not made enough to buy one iPhone.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like just like really put that in your head. Like minimum wage is boo-boo. It really is terrible. It's kind of terrible. A normal full-time job for anybody that's out of school is going to be 40 hours per week. So it takes me an entire week, if you were working minimum wage, take an entire week of work just to buy one phone. And that's assuming that you don't ever eat, you don't ever drive to work. There is zero expenses on your part whatsoever. And it still is just now enough to buy one phone after 1 week of work. That's kind of crazy to think. So with credit, what you're trying to do is do this thing called leverage. And what you're essentially doing is leveraging your time. You're gaining access to these funds so that you could do it now instead of having to work, save up money to get one of them. Because if you got a credit card, say yours right now, you said it was like 300 or whatever. Well, that's a week of work that you didn't have to do.
Yeah.
You just were given a week of work. So you can think of that in time. Like I now know how long I had to work for it. And then I have a little bit of leveraging I can do. So, hey, How do you want that paid for? Can I do it through Zelle? Can I do it through Cash App? How do you want me to do this? Of course, it's not going to be cash because it's a credit card. You can't go and swipe it at ATM. Cool. Anyways, go ahead.
Do you gotta pay your credit with your debit card?
Not necessarily. It's probably best if you had a bank account. You're most likely going to transfer money out of your bank account to pay your credit card. Yeah, if when you get to that point. All right, let's talk about just credit in general. So now you see the power credit. It gives you time back. That's what all the credit really is. The more money that you get, the more time that you get back, and the better you are at that, whatever that service may be, the more time you're getting. If you can think of it that way. If I'm getting paid more, if I can make more money with this money that I'm getting in, because you can think about it. If I, let's say I can make with $1,000, it takes me 1 month to make $2,000. To flip my 1,000, to make an extra 1,000, it would take me a month. Yeah, let's just say that. What if though, if I had a really good skill or I had a really cool service that with that same $1,000, I can make 4,000 in a month. That person's more valuable, right? So you just got to find a service that's more valuable and that you can do something with that. So now your leverage becomes more. And if you had more money with that same skill, now you're increasing your time given back. So one, find a really good skill that pays well, that can flip something quickly. And then on top of that, make sure that you have something to flip, right? How do you get this money in the first place? So let's talk about how we get that money in the first place. At the age of 18, the reason at the age of 18 is because you can now sign legally a document that says that I'll pay it back. Anything below 18, legally in America, your signature means jack. Jack squat, nothing. If you're 17, a day before your birthday, and you sign on that paper saying that you will pay somebody back, you don't have to. Because you're not 18 yet. Even if it was 1 day, 1 hour before you turned 18, and you made a promise to somebody with that contract to pay them back for whatever it may be, you don't have to. Now, I don't recommend going off and just like signing all types of contracts because you're under 18. First off, the person who's giving you that contract in the first place should not doing it. So you don't do that either, right? Like if you make a deal between you and your buddy, well, shame on you, first off, because you know that they are not legally obligated to have to pay it back. Oh, yeah, pull it up, yeah. Cool. Thank you. So there you go. Making contracts, business law, there you go. Don't give a minor a contract. They're not legally obligated to pay you back no matter what. Even if they do, great, they did good business, you're happy with it. But if they didn't, there's no legal recourse. You can't take them to court. They will owe nothing. Don't do it. Okay? Anyways, 18 years old. That's why it's so important. That's why banks won't do it. You're not 18? Psh, sorry. You ain't touching it. We ain't making you sign nothing. You are not illegally obligated for anything. And that's why you might need a parent to come into place to get on, to put them as the holder and then you as like maybe a participant in it or a dependent of it so that you can have access to it, but it's still their account. But all right, anyways, that's just why it's important to be 18 and why the banks won't do it until 18. All right, so there's this little wheel that you're going to see. This is not a huge deal, but this is a wheel. It's like a little pie. And we'll say that this pie is our credit score. We have certain portions that are a little bigger. I'm going to make sure I hopefully kind of get these into the right segments here. This is kind of the basic idea, the concept of what a credit score will look like and how it's determined. These are awful. This is an awful drawing, but I'm going to go with it anyways. So how a credit score is calculated, some are to 800, some are to 850. We're just going to assume that everything is 800. 800 is the max you can possibly get. And we're going to use these percentages like we've been talking about before. Everything's math. Everything is math. The whole world is math. You do everything. If you don't understand math, you will not understand anything. Your life will be in shambles because somebody's using it against you. Okay. So the biggest portion of your entire credit score, if out of 800, let's just assume 800 because I want to keep the numbers easy. The biggest portion is going to be this 35% portion. And could you guess what is the most important thing about having a contract between me and you that has to do with money? What's the most important thing that you will do if I give you money? What do you think should be the most important thing?
You sign up on a contract, right?
You've already signed it. What's the most important thing between me and you that you should be doing? You said it. Paying it back. Will I pay it back? Am I paying it back? So this is the biggest portion. This goes for everybody. This goes for you as a person and businesses, institutions, financial institutions, banks. The biggest portion, 35% of your credit score is based on your payment history. This is huge. This is something you control. As long as you make your payments on time, your credit score will be up. All right, so what's 35% of 800? Quick math. 35% of 800, what is that? 800 times 0.35. Is that right? Yeah. I can't do that in my head. 10 is 80, 80, 160. To what?
297.5.
So 297 points of your credit score is all based on this one thing right here. Still got 30 minutes left, 30 minutes. The next biggest is 30%. And I'm not going to expect you to know this, is how much do you owe? Amount owed. Now this one you don't have as much control over, but the more that you have, the more willing other people are going to be to give you more. Now I know this sounds very much counterintuitive. If somebody lent you $10,000, and then you paid it back, wouldn't somebody else be just as willing to give you at least $10,000 again?
Yeah.
This is key. This is key. This is how you get more credit. As we go along, we talk about this. The higher you can make this number, the better your credit score becomes. The more credit you have available to use, the higher your score will go. If you have a $500 credit card, and that's the only thing you have available, compared to somebody that has a $100,000 credit card, their credit score will be higher just because the pure fact they have more available. But if you have zero, you're losing out on a lot of points here. If you have zero credit, this is the big key for you that you've already got this. You got this established, and the beautiful thing of it, we're going to talk about why secure credit cards are so important because you just automatically get this. This is the second most important. You have control over it as a new person only by the fact that you can give them money to loan you money. And then you instantly get this credit score raised up. So, anyways, what is 30% of 800? It's like, what is that, 250? Well, this is 35.
Oh, 266.
So 266 points is based on how much credit do you have or owe. Even if you haven't spent the $10,000, you could call that as owed, or how much available do you possibly have. All right, the next three are going to be your smaller pieces. I know this is supposed to be like 65%, so it really should be like here. Sorry, made that tiny slice there. The next one's gonna be, I'm gonna go through these pretty quickly here. How much new credit do you have? What is your, the length? This one you have almost zero control over, the length, but the quicker you start, as well as talking about this earlier, the quicker you start, the better it is. And then lastly is going to be what different types of credit do you have? It's called credit mix. And these are, depending on the different, there's all types of credit scores. I'm not going to go into that too much. There's FICO 8, there's FICO 2, there's FICO 4, there's FICO 3, there's Vantage 1, Vantage 2, Vantage 3, Vantage 6. You don't have to really worry about that. The most important part is knowing that these are basically the general concepts every single time. Most important, payment history. Second most important, how much. The next is always going to be these. These are going to go different. They're going to be like 10, 10, 10 or 10, 15, 15. But the concept here is, hey, this is about 10% is new credit. Length of credit. Let's put length of credit is going to be about 15%. And then the credit mix is going to be about 10%. And that should all total up to about 100% of your scores based on these 5 factors. So credit mix 10%, that's 80. This one's 80. And this should be 84. Can I do math? Roughly 80, 84. That's right? 10% is 8 of 800 is 80. 15% is 4. 8 would be 10, another 10%? No, wait, oh my God. Oh, I can't do math. 40 more. 120. Sorry. The math struggle. 4 is 1%, or half of a percent. Anyways. So these don't matter as much, as you can kind of see. This don't have as big of a deal. What type of different loans do you have out there? So this is like, hey, do I have a credit card? Do I have a car loan? Do I have student loans? Do I have a mortgage? Does anybody know what a mortgage is? What do you think? It's a house. Yeah. So a mortgage is just anything that's in like the above 15 years. I think it's actually above 10, but anywhere in the 15 to 30, 40 year range, a loan for a long time is what a mortgage is. So this is how you get the combination to get this sweet number of 800. When you can do this, when you get these 800s, this is when you get offered. They will come to you. They want your business. If you can create this number, banks will want to come to you to do business with you because they know you're going to pay it back. They know that you use several different products. They know that you've been in the game for 5 to 10 years. You've been doing this for 5 to 10 years. They know that you don't have any new thing out there right now. So new credit's kind of a funny term, but the least that you've had to use new credit, the higher this number gets. Essentially like, hey, I had 6 credit cards. I got them 3 years ago though. I haven't had to get a new one. That makes this score go up the least amount of time that you've had to do that. And then lastly, am I paying on time? Big deal. And then, do I have a lot I have available to me? Big deal. All right, let's talk about this real quick, and then because you guys are about to head off. Okay, how do we start? Oh, go for it. Go for it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, big deal. So for him here, he actually went and got this thing that's called a secure credit card. That's what I'm going to talk about. Then I'm just going to end it there. Secure credit card just means that you secured your card. It's not unsecured. It's not saying that it's just money that was given. Unsecured just means freely money that's given. It's just based on my likability by my name, is by my signature. You're allowing me this $200. It's like if your mom, right, she would just give you $200 without you having to have anything to back it up. That's unsecured. That I don't have anything to back it up. Like if I don't pay it, yeah, that's it. It's really, that's all that happens. I'm like, well, couldn't do it. But secured, saying like, hey, I'm going to offer up something that is worth at least that $200 or at least that $500 or whatever that may be. Secured is the easiest way to get a credit card. Because one, they already have your money. So they essentially, usually they will allow this in the beginning. It's almost 99% chance here, unless you've already showed that you suck. Unless you've already proven that you are terrible with money, secure credit card is the way to go. So you can walk into any bank. I would recommend the first place you go to would be a credit union. So whatever credit union. Here in St. Louis, we have St. Louis Community Credit Union. That was a really good one. Scott Credit Union, beautiful credit union. Love that one. We talked about Navy Federal Credit Union. That one's a little bit harder to get unless you have a family member that's actually in the military. So, or a relative like a grandmother, uncle, somebody that's close. I think it's like one step. As long as you have somebody that's like a step away, a grandparent that's been in the military. As long as you have that, then they will allow you to be a member with them. And that's it's a very good credit union. I would start with that before the big banks, like a Chase, Bank of America. I would start with a local credit union because they're a lot more friendly to lending to their people. You live here. They're already kind of, what's the word? They do grants and stuff along with the program of the community. So if there's like St. Louis community grants that are going out from the city, they're more willing to do that because maybe you're going to start a business here in the city, which actually helps them grow. So they're going to be more, Lord. Words. They want to do this business with you more often. They're more helpful in the beginning. In the beginning, credit unions are an incredible way to start off. So you can literally walk into the credit union. It's usually about $5 to open an account with them. And then you say, hey, banker, sir, ma'am, I would like to open up a secured credit card. They're going to ask you, oh, great. Well, do you know anything about credit? Yes, I do. Mr. Shear told me. He taught me all about it. I know I'm 18. I know I want to start my credit. I want to start with good credit right off the bat. And I know the easiest and best way to do that is with a secure credit card. I have $500. I don't know what you guys, anywhere between $200 to $500 is a sweet spot. Anything more, probably a little bit of waste of your time at that point. I'd say maybe up to 1,000 if you have it. 500 is probably the best place to start off with that. Anywhere between $200 to $500. You will then, after that $5 to start open the account with, you will then hand them $200 to $500, and then they will run your credit. Right now, you don't have any, right? You're a zero. You're a big fat zero. You've never done business. You're 18. Never done business. You don't have proof of anything. And that's fine. You're about to make that proof right now with this card. Highly recommend, this is how I would say this, for the first 3 months of owning this card, don't use it. Because here's what it's going to do. And we're going to go right back to this wheel real quick. So you pay back credit cards every month. These are monthly payments. If you don't owe anything, you don't technically pay anything. But on your report, you made a payment. You were on time.
Please excuse this announcement. For the students that assisted Ms. Branson in the library this morning, please meet her in the main office. Thank you.
Technically speaking, you made a payment. $0, but you made it. You are now 100% paid on time. The quickest 300 points of your entire life. 100% payment. You do that for 3 months in a row. Now it's looking real good. You've made 3 on-time payments. 100% of the time. You are good for what you owe. Now you also now owe something, or you have the ability of something. So you have that $200 or whatever it may be, or up to $500, whatever you put in there. And now you have another almost 300 points to your account. Probably not as the whole 300 or the 250 or whatever that is. But somewhere between 500 to the first, like 3,000 is the first chunk. 5,000 to 20,000 is your next chunk, and then anything above 20,000 gets you that full point per percentage here. So you don't use it. There's nothing on you anyways. And plus 3 months fly by. 3 months be flying by. Now you want to use it a little bit. You're like, oh, you know what? Time to get some gas. Pay it down immediately. Because let's say if you had a $200 credit card, you spend $40 in gas. You've already spent 20% of your amount owed. So now it looks like you owe a whole bunch off that one $40 purchase. Best thing to do, just go ahead and pay it all off so you have zero showing. You're still spending 0 of your total because you don't want to lose 20% of your points. Or well, it's like probably the 20% is probably going to be like 15% of your points, but you don't want to do that. But you want to be able to show that you can spend money too. That's what you do on the month 4, 5, and 6 is that you can make these payments on top of spending it. You're showing that you need it a little bit, but not really. And what you can do right after that 6-month period, which I was just telling that young scholar about, is that after 6 months, now you start getting to the point of like, hey, I need to go to either unsecured, where it's just my signature will be good enough, or I need to go find another credit card. You got 6 months of on-time payments. Now your credit score should be somewhere between, probably 650 to 700, with just in the first 6 months. You can get another credit card. It's probably going to be with the 650 to 700. You're going to look at maybe about a $5,000 card, maybe somewhere between 2 and 5,000. Guess what that does? It pumps this up. Now you're getting more points off of this 30% here. You're continuing to make your on-time payments. You're on time over and over and over, and you're making your payments. You're going to keep those 300 every time. You have a new credit mix, so you're adding to these points potential. Your length of credit is now at half of a year. You're getting more of these points. And this is how we build credit. So I'm going to go back, summarize it all. In general, 800 is top you can possibly get. Yes, I know there's one for 850. I get it, whatever. But 800, we're just going to keep it for simple numbers. The biggest part of it's going to be, 35% of it's going to be your payment history. Can you make payments on time? 100% of the time. It is a big deal to miss a payment. Big deal. Crushes your credit score if you miss one. Never miss a payment. Be on time, if not above time, early. Don't mess up this. This is the one you can control. 300 points of your control. This one, another 250 of your control. How much can I get? How many more credit cards can I apply for? And you want to apply for more credit cards every 3 to 6 months. Lastly, as new credit, don't really have to worry about that one. Length of your credit, you don't really have to worry about this because you will do it over time. It just comes to you. As long as you have a credit card and you start at 18, by the time you turn 28, that's 10 years of history. You got the whole 120 points on that. Credit mix, the more credit cards, the more car loans, the more student loans, the different mortgages that you receive. I don't recommend student loans. Try to get those scholarships. Don't do the student loans. Man, them things suck. Them things will eat you up, especially when you're trying to get this bad boy right here, trying to get this mortgage, trying to get a house. Student loans look like you have these massive payments that you're usually not even paying. But I recommend, anyways, the higher this gets, the more of these things that you get, the more points you get towards that credit mix. But you see, that's not very much. It's not, 80 is nothing compared to this big bad boy 300 over here. So that's how you get your 800 credit score. And then you go to the bank as a brand new person with zero credit whatsoever. You have a zero score. You go in there to get a secured credit card, paying somewhere between $200 to $500 to establish that. You hand them $200, $500, then they give you a credit card for $200 to $500. So it's kind of like a little trade almost. It's almost like a little trade. Hey, I'll give you my money. You give me your money. And then you report that I'm paying my stuff on time. Deal? It's kind of the idea. That's how it works. And then after a little bit of time, they will upgrade you and make you unsecured or give you more money. And now you're building this cool little thing. Now you want to start a business. You go in there for business loans. Once you get your credit score up to about 750, or maybe even 720. We'll say 720. 720 is the little sweet spot. That's when you go in for the business. Now that you have a business going, you have something that can be profitable. You're out here mowing yards. You want to, hey, you got 2 or 3 buddies. You got so many yards that you can't do on your own, or you just don't feel like doing. Right? If I'm getting paid $100 to go do a yard, if I pay somebody $80 to do that, I make 20. I just send them to go do it. I still make 20. I didn't do anything. That's how businesses work. I get the job, you go do it for me, and we're all happy. They get the service done, your buddy gets paid, and you get paid. That's business. That's the highlight of it all. If you want to get a car, the higher your credit score is, the more loan you can get for that car. You don't have to buy a $10,000 beater car. You can get you a brand new, a brand new Buick even, like 2025. It's only like $27,000. That's a decent car, brand new. And you can get that with no money down because you have good credit. I don't suggest that you go and buy a car immediately. I don't suggest that. Wait until it's needed. No, do go buy that $5,000 beater if you can. Probably not even $5,000, probably like $2,000 off of your grandpa or something like that. They got one sitting in the driveway, they're not even using that mug. Go and find that thing. All right, cool. Anybody got questions? You got questions? I know that was a lot. It's a lot. But if you're 18, go do that right now. Straight up, walk into the bank, secure credit card, open up the account for $5. $5. I want a secure credit card, $200. Start your credit history. Go for it. Yeah. What was that? What's the question? Okay, cool. Yeah. You want me to go over this all again next year when you're 18 or close to 18? Okay, cool. All right, y'all. If you like that, if that's something that you're interested in, if you enjoy talking about credit and learning more about the credit game, I can't. That's what I'm here for. This is the Michael Shear channel. Oh, what do we see? I love this guy. I love this guy's live. Oh man, I appreciate that. Thanks for saying that you love this guy's lives, man. All right, hit that subscribe, hit that like, shoot it up in the algorithm so that when we do go live again, maybe it's going to be something on the financial instrument that you want to use to increase your life and make it better. And so this is Mr. Shear. Have a great day.